same in the corners. It's much easier to, when you get into trouble, to get it out of trouble because you've got all four wheels pulling. So all in all, it's a much easier car to drive.
And here are the leaderboards after stage 1.
At just short of 22 kilometers, Stage 2 continued the fast and furious theme of the rally opener. But at speed, those marbles can be very slippery, especially for the first few cars. Conditions certainly were not ideal for S2000 novices like John Williams, who often found himself flat out in a car he was still getting to know. Gemmell was also finding the learning curve steeper than expected and was now focused on getting to know the Castrol Runx better. Already the fastest of the three S2000 newcomers was JP Damso. He looked determined to tame the total Runx. For JP, getting to grips with the new car's superior brakes was one of the biggest challenges. Up front, Enzo was still struggling with an off-song car. As was Hubby, a glitch in the engine management system seemed to be the culprit. Etienne Lawrence was quicker than both the Polos and clearly enjoying himself.
And long left 6. Into a long right 3 in, 40 over gate.
Again, fastest of the BP Polos in this stage was Feckin, clearly intent on making up some of that lateness. But Serge was in a class of his own, and the only driver to break the 10-minute barrier. The Toyota team leader's performance left Enzo Kuhn somewhat bemused.
He's got the edge on us at the moment, so we're going to have to really have an absolutely perfect stage to beat him.
Obviously, the fast pace was leaving little margin for error.
You know, you lose a minute, it's not easy to make it up. The guys are all pushing very hard, especially on these quick roads. There's not a lot of time in it.
We will still get used to the car. And yeah, driving these roads in the Cape, they're quite fast, so it's quite a handful at some places. So it's traveling quite quickly.
In Class A7, Kobus Ruiz and Neil Fourie and the Sasol Toyota Runx were putting up a game fight. The former N3 crew looked very much at home in their fastest steed. KZN privateers Tony Ball and Alan Bissett were storming along in their Bulwer Park Golf, which is starting to show its age. New to the class is N3 champion Chris de Wit, who was finding his new Runx quite a challenge.
From N3 to A7 is a huge jump. The car is hugely different. It might look similar, but it's really a lot different. It brakes much better, accelerates much faster, handles better, so it's all around just a big learning curve for us, but we'll hopefully be there in an event or two.
Despite an overheating engine, Barry Grobbelaar and Mike Burrows were caning their Sasol Golf. But the fastest man in A7 was another class newcomer.
It's been a bit of a wake-up call for us. The car's a lot faster than we sort of anticipated initially. The stages are extremely fast. So they've caught us out, one or two little scares, but we're on the road, and yeah, we're trying to keep it nice and smooth and clean.
A5 champion Michael Houghton, the move to a Class N3 Total Runx was something of an eye-opener.
There's certain things that we still have to learn with the car, and we're taking it easy, and they're going alpha leather, so we'll get there at some stage, but at the moment we're just finding our feet. Well, they say in this class, you lift off, you come last, so at the moment we still need to work on that, but yeah, no, loving every minute of it.
Proving that privateers can be competitive, Huggy Straw and George Baker were flying in their Ellie Straw Auctioneers N3 Runx. Rodney Passage car. He was expecting to be among the front runners, but a mishap in stage 1 cost him dearly.
About 15 k's from the end, we had a front brake pipe burst, so it was a bit terrifying. I was pushing, but you know, I didn't want to go off, and well, I mean, when it did burst, we did go off, but thank God there was not too bad, and we got back going. So, but we've lost a minute and a half, which I don't know if we're going to make back. We're going to start pushing now and see, but the guys are going, so I don't think we'll make it back. We'll see what we can do.
One of last year's finds was Mohamed Musa, whose debut performance saw him finish 3rd in the class championship. In Caledon, he had the bits between the teeth from the outset.
Our intention wasn't to come in and, you know, push very hard. We would just see what the pace was like and react. And I see the guys were taking it very easy on the first stage, so we managed to build up a buffer. Everybody's walking up on the second stage and they're pushing a little bit. We're still not on the max.
We'll be back after the break with more... Scenic backdrop was of little interest to the crews, who were far more intent on keeping their potent rally machines on the track at flat-out speed. For the spectators, it made for thrilling viewing. By now it was clear that John and Doug Williams were treating their first S2000 outing as a test session. The pair was keeping their Kuma Polo on the road, but were out of touch with the leaders. By own admission, Gemmel was following a similar strategy. The former N4 pilot was struggling with braking points, which are much later than the heavy production car he's used to. JP Damso, on the other hand, was finding increasing confidence in his Total Runex and was starting to match the pace of the S2000 regulars. In fact, JP's time on this stage was identical to that of teammate Etienne Laurent. He was still looking dangerous and running 3rd overall. For Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson, the lack of pace of their BP Polo was particularly frustrating. Kuhn's speed and maturity earned him the overall championship in 2006, and he was clearly irritated about his inability to put up more of a fight in the season opener. However, pushing too hard could well compromise valuable points for a top 5 finish. Some committed driving from Pekin saw the BP Polo driver outpace his champion teammate. Without that 70-second lateness penalty, Hergen would have been right up there. Now it was more a case of damage control. But the most attacking crew in the Volkswagen Rally squad were veterans Jannie Habig and Douglas Judd. Would it be enough to catch Serge? Damso is always difficult to beat on his home turf, but this year, Route Notes mostly leveled the odds by negating the value of any local knowledge. Even so, the Toyota Ace took his 3rd straight stage win to lead overall by an emphatic 32 seconds.
In N4, the Verloc sisters were keeping it nice and steady. But Fitzer du Plessis was a man on a mission, intent on staying in touch with the top N4 runners. Apart from the Stage 1 puncture, the Pertec Creepy Crawly Subaru was running flawlessly, and Fitzer was right up there with Reuter and Ryan. Reuter's Mitsubishi Evo had the straight line speed, but new rear shocks were compromising the car's handling, while the power steering pump was playing up too. For Ryan, the event was turning into a nightmare. Despite the Autotech built Subaru's obvious potential, he couldn't match class leader Wilkins' pace. Charles Minolta Konicker's Subaru was starting to look unbeatable.
Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin had a similar grip on Class A7. The talented Cronje wasn't at all intimidated by his new car's speed and was already miles ahead of the rest. 5, the action was rather less frenetic. Chart Conradi was among the front gaggle of contenders, ahead of a struggling Claudio Piazzamusso, whose much-anticipated new Toyota Yaris did not materialize. For now, the man to beat was Gugu Zulu, languishing in his old City Golf, while a new A7 Polo is being built for him. Teammate Andre Kleinberg was playing catch-up after an uncharacteristic shortage of pace in stage 1, which cost the Port Elizabeth driver more than a minute. Raising some eyebrows with his turn of speed was Steve Mearns in the MP Cement A5 Taz, lying a handy second behind Zulu. We asked Piazzamusso about the missing Yaris after this stage.
We should be ready for the Cecil. We just hope we can get some kind of mileage before the Cecil, because as you know, to put a new car into a rally, there's so many little things to sort out. So hopefully we'll have the time to go and shake it down and actually, you know, get a good feeling on it before we go to the Cecil.
Stage 4 had the crews crisscrossing their way through twisty farm roads, attracting plenty of local spectators who enjoyed the sight of the rooster-tailing rally cars flying through their own backyards. He might still be learning, but John Williams was giving the Guma VW Polo lots of stick. The confident youngster should become a force to be reckoned with very soon. Koen's Polo was playing up again, and he lost 9 seconds to teammate Hobbick's fastest stage time. JP, by comparison, set exactly the same time as Enzo and was really starting to enjoy the total Runex. Gemmell too was more confident behind his Castrol Runex and pipped JP by a single second. Feckin was quicker than Enzo, although only by 4 seconds. Underscoring just how closely matched the S2000 cars are, Etienne Lawrence shaved a further 2 seconds off Feckin's time. For the first time, Damso didn't head the timesheets. He was 2 seconds faster than Lawrence, but it wasn't enough. Stage honours belonged to the BP VW Polo of Hubich and Judd, moving the pair into second. Seeing Surge's lead increase with every stage, Yanni was on a mission to halt the rocks.
Also looking determined was Tony Ball in the A7 Bulwer Park Golf, chasing the similar Sasselback car of Probelaar and Burrows. The gap, only 2 seconds. While De Wit and navigator Patrick Yende were pushing harder now, the transition from N3 to A7 was proving a tougher than expected task. The A7 Runex has almost twice the power of the N3 version. For Marc Cronier, the move from A6 to A7 was clearly a lot less challenging. The modest youngster, who only started rallying last year, was annihilating the rest of the A7 field.
For me, it's really just to finish the event, find my feet with A7. This is my 7th event, so it's not like I've got a vast amount of rally experience. And I think it's really just to gain that experience again.
In A6, the old-school Total Toyota Conquest continued to run with and beat more modern machinery, although Lawrence and Jacobs were pipped on stage 4 by an improving Trott and Swan, albeit by only 4 seconds.
I think at the moment I'm actually under-driving it. Trying to drive the way I used to drive the Corolla doesn't help. I'm finding the braking is a lot better than the Corolla with the bigger brakes. And I just need to drive it to its full capability now. I'm sure within the next 2-3 stages I'll get there. By tomorrow morning, hopefully, be a lot quicker.
Another veteran who wasn't letting age get in the way of pace was Andy Haig-Smith. However, on stage 4, the Polo of Wilkin and Carryhill set the second fastest time, 3 seconds better than Trott and only 4 seconds behind Mike Nathan's Corolla.
At 27 kilometres, the last stage of the day was almost as long as the first, and with no servicing allowed between stages 4 and 5,